Brian, we once did an interview. I once did an interview with him, and he had some girl during the whole interview hold the microphone for him while he just stood right by him and held the microphone while he did the interview, which I thought was hilarious. We were in a hotel room, by the way. So yeah.
Oh, he's definitely an interesting guy, and I've learned a lot from him. I've learned a lot from wrestling on shows with him, whether it's Random Indies or MLW, and I've learned a lot from Harry as well. And I just learned a whole lot from wrestling Harry. Yeah, the other night, it was a very physical lesson.
Yeah, I saw that match,
the finals of the Opera Cup, and I gave it my all, and I took a beating, but that's how it goes sometimes, and I feel like I have a much bigger respect for the business after that match for sure.
And he earned your respect, bro, because you took it there. I saw you after the match. You were professional, so it was like, welcome to the big leagues, kid. That's kind of like what Davey was telling me.
That big match feel, especially afterwards. After your match, if you feel a little banged up, it feels like you earned your pay that night. Yeah. So.
I want to get discussion on this. This is a question from our mailbag this week, okay? And I want to see what everybody's opinion is on this, because I'm thinking that everybody's going to kind of be in the same boat. It's from P. Alberto Sanchez, and the subject is Sami Zayn confronts homophobic dude. It's like, hey guys, over the weekend, Sami Zayn confronted a dude who was apparently throwing homophobic slurs. Given the belief that heels need to be heels and have heat, is this the sort of thing that's okay in terms of breaking kayfabe? P. Alberto Sanchez. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
Okay. I think I saw a tweet or something about that, yeah.
All right, so Sammy, I guess a guy called him the F-A-G-G-O-T word, right? And he went off on the guy. And I'm like, bro, it's like I'm from a culture of professional wrestling where you did not care what the fans said. And the fans were getting on you, and if you had done your job well enough to where they're literally using slurs against you and stuff and all that, like I would look at it as a badge of honor. I get this person so mad at me. He's calling me a gay and stuff, and at that reside stuff, and I would say something back to them.
Yeah,
it's like the funny thing now is it's like we're in a culture of professional wrestling where the fans at the event and the wrestlers are like, there's like a code of conduct now, and the code of conduct doesn't involve like a lot of heat. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the wrestling fans, they applaud and stuff. You can just boo. You can't really be personal attacks against the wrestlers because it's funny that professional wrestlers today are literally getting offended at fans' comments. And I was like, if you did that back in the day, like you might get fired. And it's like it's changed. I'm like,
that is very true. What do you think about that?
I think you got to have a thick skin if you want to be any kind of performer, whether you're an actor or a singer or a guitarist. Anytime you're up on a stage, I think you're at the mercy of the people, and I think the people are your feedback system, and they're going to give you the information you need to, whether it's to become a better performer or to control their emotions or what have you. If you take away that ability to interact, you're just going to lose control over your crowd, and eventually you're not going to get any kind of reaction you want. So I think policing the narrative and what the fans can and can't do is definitely something in the newer age of things that I don't necessarily agree with. But at the same time, I'm not coming from a place that of a minority, so I can understand how hard it must be to deal with that. But Sami Zayn, he's a professional, he's a performer. If it's up to him and he wants to call out somebody for doing a certain word or whatever, that's on him. But as a performer, I wouldn't want to break down that. I wouldn't break the fourth wall for that specifically,
Well, not only that, here's the other thing.
Unless it was completely apparent that somebody, maybe in the audience or somebody was being harassed or bullied, that, if it was directed at me, I'm in my own zone when I'm wrestling. I'm not a person. I'm not a human being. I'm a professional wrestler. So if I was having anything directed at me, I would remain in character 100%.
Brian, here's the thing. The guy, if Sami Zayn isn't a homosexual, why is that offending him?
Yeah, I guess it's just the use of the word, I guess, so other people are hearing it and maybe being offended by it. But like I said, because I'm not a homosexual either, if I was a wrestler that was a homosexual and then they yelled at me, I might have an emotional reaction to it.
Right.
So I could see where, but yes, as Sami Zayn, he might just be, virtue signaling himself, pulling that off to kind of say, hey, because it's, I support LGBT, and obviously it makes a headline for him too. So it could have been a selfish move on his part. Right. To kind of put himself over. If you look that deep into it, might not have even been that deep. It might have just been him calling somebody out.
Right. You just never know nowadays. What were you gonna say? I interrupted you, dude.
No. That's the thing. It's like, the virtual stage is the perfect thing. There's like, bro, this is the thing. It's like, when you're out there performing and you're breaking character, sometimes because fans are getting under your. It's like, the job of you're supposed to get under the fan skin to where they're saying things that like you would like act like they'd get under your skin. You know what I'm saying? Like you can get a bigger pop that way from the crowd, but like calling out like one fan to me I'm just like, come on, bro. It's like if you don't understand that you're gonna perform in front of tens and hundreds of thousands of people over a calendar year, that there's gonna be some assholes in the crowd, and if you can't comprehend that and think that like, oh, I'm gonna, that you're selling for one of them, which is probably gonna be so few and far between. It's like, bro, it's like, come on, that shows. It's like we talked about. That shows to me, it's like, do you really have that mindset to be a star? If that's bothering you that much,
right?
You know like you said, thick skin is important in this business, and there's too many wrestlers today that just show that they do not have thick skin. Guys, girls, and stuff that you see on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, this is not good for the culture of this business. To tell fans that we're professional athletes that are simulating fights, and we're getting bothered at words from people.
Yeah,
that's not good for the future of this business. It's like we need to like start selling more of a old school toughness and thick skin and masculinity to this product.
Yeah, and if you preach that type of stuff, you're an asshole. But I totally agree with you. I think we've lost a lot of what makes us, go from young men to being a man and being able to handle those social situations without breaking down or without forgetting that we're on the clock. We're doing our job. If somebody starts calling me and I'm working at Starbucks, I don't just like stop my job. I maybe ask to have him removed, hey sir, I might have to call the police or something. But, at the end of the day, it's like, do your job and do it well. And if people are reacting, that's a good thing, right? If people are saying things and getting riled up, the problem is all people used to have were their emotions and their bodies, and they would go to shows and they would let themselves go and they would feel that sense of freedom that they can cheer and they can yell. But now you have crowds that aren't as loud and rambunctious and excited about wrestling because they are sort of inner sheltered and they don't want to express themselves, or, I don't want to cheer for this person, or maybe these other people in line might not like me, So we have a very reserved culture, and especially that's due to everything being recorded, everything being online. People are just afraid to kind of let loose. Where back in the day, people were jumping up and screaming and boo and this, and the emotions were running,
Yeah. That's very good. I like hearing that perspective from somebody your age. But I just think, to me, it's so weird, Brian. It's almost like if you went to a play and you're watching Julius Caesar, right? And then Brutus comes out, and he's the heel. Some guy in the fucking crowd goes, "You're a dick, Brutus," and the actor turns around and goes, "So are you," or some shit like that. You're not supposed to break character, like
right.
You're out there, and I don't give a fuck what like I'm a heel in Mexico, and Disco went to Impact, and he was just basically like really easy shit, like kind of bearing Tessa Blanchard, like bearing women's wrestling.
Yeah.
And the people were like, "Fuck you, Disco!" Like they were really getting animated.
Yeah, that's a real story. Yeah, that's a very real reaction that we want to get, that we can get on film and produce a show that's based on real emotion. But people just forget that.
I just think it's weird, Brian, that here you are trying to work the people into getting mad, right? Because Sami Zayn is a heel, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And he was bearing the people for a while, remember? He was always bearing the people. Thanks to you people. That's why wrestling sucks. So you finally got under their skin. Now a guy tells you something, and now you're going to go back at him. I just think that's very counterproductive. Just ignore the motherfucker. I think he made a bigger deal. Yeah, right.
You're losing the heat. And then, bro, this is a formula in professional wrestling that we've kind of lost. Is that, these days, the way we promote wrestling is like, hey, this is going to be a great match. These guys will have a great match. These guys are like, I'd love to work this guy to be a great match. Hey, let's put it on TV, it'd be a great match. It's like, bro, there's no heat there, you know. And then, but wrestling still, I'm sorry, it's like regardless, like, you know, the way that people try to talk about it's art, it's, you know, stuff that's performed, but like still, the premise is built on